Alright, this is the second installment of the 32 stories thing. If you want to read it or whatever, go to the link, it's in the description, everything's there. If you haven't watched the first video, get off here and watch the first one. This is part 2, so I hope you enjoy it. This is the last one. They're not as many, and I don't think it'll be as long, I hope, but oh well. This next one, or first one for this video, is number 21 by the person Freudian's Slip and Slide. I hope I'm saying that right. This happened to a family member of mine about 4 years ago. She was driving home late around midnight and fell asleep at the wheel. She hit the only tree next to the road for miles. We live in a rural area, going 60 miles per hour. She was pretty dazed, but she remembers a man running to her within minutes. She described him as looking roughly 20 years old and wearing a leather jacket. He was trying to get her to move, but her ankle was barely hanging on by the skin. She insisted that she stay still until the medics arrived, but he kept telling her that she had to move now. He picked her up and carried her to the side of the road. As soon as he put her down, the car exploded in flames. He gave her his jacket to keep her warm, then she passed out. She woke up in the hospital and asked my aunt about the guy that helped her. She said no one was there when help arrived on the scene other than herself. She still had the jacket, covered in blood and dirt. The jacket itself was from our school, but it looks like it was from the 60s. This next one is number 24 by Dance Martine Dance. My dad died when I was 2. So needless to say, I didn't know anything about him, aside from the generic, "Your father was a great man." Well, one night, I fell asleep, like any other night, and it brings tears to my eyes every time I tell this story. Anyways, I fell asleep, and I had this dream that I talked to him, but I don't remember what it was about. I remember crying a lot, and then he was sitting on the chair that had pulled up right in front of my bed. I woke up the next morning with a vague recollection of what happened, and my eyes were puffy and red, like I'd been crying. And there it was, a chair positioned towards me, not a foot away from my bed, in the same spot I remember him sitting. Mind you, the chair was originally on the other side of the room, pushed into my desk. I'm not much for superstitions and ghosts, but I like to think that he visited me that night. Number 28 is next. This one's by Seashells 10. Forgive me if I say seashells wrong. I don't know why. Maybe it's these two front teeth. You know? Anyways, I was driving home from work one evening. I usually take the freeway home, but I decided to take it easy and took side streets instead, passing the local cemetery. My grandmother had passed the year before, and it was her birthday that day. When I drove past her grave, I said, "Happy birthday, Lola," out loud. My car immediately filled with tobacco smoke. She smoked tobacco multiple times a day. My windows were up, my AC was off, and there was no other cars around. It freaked me out at first, but I knew it was just mother greeting me with her presence. Next one's a few goes down, number 30, by this person, Palooza Snoo. Snoo. Okay. At our fraternity house, there's a cat that won't die. It's rarely seen, but I think she lives mostly in the crawl space and basement. Her name is Fluffy, and Fluffy won't die. Fluffy was brought to the house in the early 80s for pest control and whatnot, wearing a leather collar with a tag, and still looks exactly the same. According to a law that isn't sincere, it's unexplainable. It's unexplainable. The cat didn't bring up offspring and put the collar on them. It's just a mean, creepy, silent 35-year-old cat. Right afterwards. This one's by Ififont. That person, right? You can go look in the link, I don't care. In '98, I was at my supervisor's desk when the phone rang. I picked it up and blurted out, "Dad died." And immediately thought, what the fuck? Turns out my mom was calling me to tell my dad he died the night before. I hadn't talked to my mom in a few weeks, and as far as I knew, my dad wasn't in any immediate danger. He just died in his sleep. Number 32, by the guy who eats blind nuns. Well, I hope they're low calorie. A few months ago, I had to babysit my cousin's baby while my cousin went grocery shopping. I was just watching TV in the living room with the baby sleeping on the couch. I reached forward to grab the Coke that I was drinking, when all of a sudden the baby started crying. I quickly go over to him so I could calm him and send him back to sleep. But when I see him, I'm shocked to see that he's still sound asleep, and the crying is still occurring. We were the only ones in the house. The closest neighbor is half a block down. That about does it for everything. Once again, link is in the description. Like, favorite, subscribe, whatever. I like to make these videos just for fun. If you want to hear a story, feel free to comment or message me of one. If you have a suggestion of one, any topic in mind, I enjoy them. We'll be posting both videos, hopefully around the same time. Also, I'll be posting outtakes later on. They're really bad, but I don't care. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed it. Sorry if I was really bad or sound really stupid, but I'm still trying. I just love enjoying these stories and reading them, and I hope you like them too.
Think I'll go for a walk outside now. The summer sun's calling my name. I hear you now, I just can't stay inside.